Hi everyone, this is your host Latifa Swaidah. Welcome to Qudwa's podcast powered by the CFA Society Bahrain. At Qudwa, we believe in the philosophy of paying it forward. This is why we are recreating our conversations that we have with people we look up to. We would like to take this time to thank Ahli United Bank in continuously supporting us in our initiatives. The role of a true leader is to serve others, not to be served. Understanding what each person needs and wants is key to leadership. So how can a corporate leader or a manager or an entrepreneur reconcile the idea of leadership with serving others? Today we are joined by someone with a massive track record when it comes to good leadership and make wonderful things happen across the organization. I'm so glad to welcome Mr. AbdulKarim BuCheery, who is the current chairman of Bahrain Bourse and the current chairman of Bahrain Clear as well. He also served across several board positions in a number of different organizations across the kingdom. Prior to his retirement in 2016, he was the group CEO of BBK. It's such an honor to have you here with us, AbdulKarim.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I've been waiting all week to have this conversation with you, honestly. And you're someone who has been living and walking your walk when it comes to being a true leader in the industry. And I was wondering what your view is about when it comes to motivating and inspiring others. Is it linked to each other, or are there any differences between both of them?
Okay, this is a very good question and very difficult question as well. There is very fine distinction between motivation and inspiration, but they are sometimes used as to give the same meaning, which is wrong. Motivation is something that comes from the outside, while inspiration is from within. Motivation is maybe a destination that you want to reach, while inspiration is something that starts from the inside to reach somewhere outside. Motivation sometimes is wrongly by people is perceived to be given to lazy people and low productive people, which is wrong. And inspiration is also perceived to be given for people who are productive and on the go all the time. But that is also wrong, because there is, as I said, very fine distinction between motivation and inspiration. But motivation, like we say in Arabic, hafiz, and inspiration is ilham or wahi or iha. I'm sure for those people who know Arabic language, they will know what is the difference between motivation and inspiration. Basically, to recap, there is very fine distinction between the two. They are used interactively, but they should achieve the same purpose of motivating and inspiring people to get the best out of them.
I understand that when it comes to motivation, it purely comes from within you. So when you look at someone and you try to motivate them to their best extent, what's one question that you would ask them to uncover what exactly motivates them?
Okay. Just to make sure that we are on the same line of thinking, motivation is not something that comes from within you. Okay. Inspiration is something that comes from within. Motivation is something that is given to you to basically achieve a particular target or goal or what have you. So just to simplify it, like I say, son, if you clean the car, I'll buy you this. So the motivation, the motive behind doing things is to achieve that sort of given prize. While inspiration is that you do it without being rewarded for the thing. Motivation, you get a reward at the end. Like when we do with our employees, we say if you achieve net profit of this much, you'll get a bonus. That is motivation. How do you uncover what a person needs in terms of motivation? It's also a very difficult question, because not everyone would want the same thing. People get motivated by a financial reward. Others get motivated by psychological reward. Other people get motivation by being known of what they do. So it differs from a person to another. And it's very important to know what is the motivation for that person that you want him to be involved in a particular job or in something. So the best thing that I usually used to do when I was working in the bank is to ask a direct question to the person in front of me. What motivates you most in the short run? Because the long run is not motivation. The long run is plan, is goal, is what have you. In the short run, like I come and ask you, Latifa, we are having very difficult here. What will motivate you? You may tell me a good bonus will motivate me. You may tell me a promotion. You may tell me just a letter of thank you. You may tell me nominate me for the employee of the month or the employee of the year. So the best thing is direct question. Ask a direct question to the person and then observe. If, for instance, Latifa is working with me and this year she achieved 10% above her targets, and I motivated her by promoting her, but I didn't see that reflected very well or felt very well in her. Give her better bonus still, but I wrote her letter and I tapped her on the shoulder in front of all employees. She was too excited, and so you can know from experience what motivates a person versus other. The best thing is the direct question.
Definitely. I think not just with employees, but it's with each and every single person that you deal with every day.
Absolutely.
Is to be direct with them.
Absolutely, yes.
So, irregardless of titles or positions, when we get opportunities to lead other people, what should we do when we find ourselves in a position where we can lead, but we're too scared to jump into that opportunity?
Okay, very good question. I think the most important thing to do when you are about to lead something is to get to know the subject fully from A to Z. So know your stuff. Know it better and best than any other person. You should study it, read about it, prepare yourself to be aware of it. Fully aware of it. If you don't know certain things, ask. So that is one thing. Plan, and plan very properly. Plan very well for what you want to achieve, how you want to achieve it. Put it in a drawing board and try to plan. I want to do this by this day. I want to do this by this. I look forward to do this and that. So plan it in your mind on a paper, but a plan. Prepare and then plan. To make yourself happy of leading, and of course a leader would always want to be successful. He does not want to be a failure, otherwise he's not a good leader. To make sure that you can achieve this high success rate, you need to choose your members of the team working with you, of the people around you, to choose them very carefully by ensuring that they are diverse in terms of knowledge and experience, and by ensuring that they are disciplined and that they are hard workers. I think that is the most important thing that you should know and you should do when you are about to lead something. Like, let us take example. If you want to lead a battle against the enemy, what do you need to do? You need to know exactly what your enemy's strength, what power does he have, how many aircrafts he has, how many, I don't know what other weapons he has, and you want to know what do you have. If you have, say, one fighter and he has 1,000 fighters, you will definitely take the decision not to enter in this war, صح? So when you know the information, this is number one. Then plan. Now you've got all the information. How can I win this battle? How can I win this particular battle? I prepare for it very well. I plan for it very well. Of course, I will need generals around me to consult with them, to ask them, what if we do this plan, what if we do that, and so understand and prepare yourself, get the knowledge, plan, consult, and then execute. A good leader has to always follow these four principles or four steps.
Right. So when you have team members, or when you need something from them, I've read across something, and I do understand that if you want to get something out of someone, you have to first serve them. You have to give them what they want. What's your view on this? Serving others so that they serve you as well.
Okay. First, I have to be very fair with them. I have to reward them fairly, because I would not expect, say, somebody to work for me to build my house, for instance, and I tell him I'll give you peanuts at the end of the day. That will not be enough to even live. I have to reward him fairly, and the market will dictate that, of course. The market will tell me what is a good value for this job or for that job. Then I need to empower people, because people without empowerment, they are helpless. They can't do things. You need to empower them so that when they take decision, they are not challenged by their followers or by other team members or by their colleagues. They need to be empowered, and empowerment, of course, is a big issue. It has to be peer policies, it has to be peers in accordance with the system and authority metrics and what have you. So you have to empower your people to make them productive for a job, or particular job. If you want them to work amongst a team or to do a job by themselves, you have to empower them. You have to reward them well, and then very, very important to always have a mentor for them, to assign a mentor for them. Like for instance, in our religions in Islam, our mentor is Allah. When we make something wrong, we go and try to get forgiveness from Allah. When we do something good, we try to we hope to get rewards from Allah. So Allah is our mentor at the end of the day. But that is in the big issue. Like in the workplace, it is better to assign a mentor always to somebody who's trying to groom, to bring up as a leader, as a team member, or what have you, so that when he is in doubt, when he has a question, when he wants to follow, he always go back to this mentor to try to educate him. Of course, the better the mentor, the better result you will get.
100%. I really believe that, especially in the workplace, the best mentor that you can have, your boss, because they can really accelerate not only your career, but they can also teach you their ways of how to navigate through the workplace.
Correct. It's not always necessary that the boss will be your boss, because the boss can inspire you, but somebody else can mentor you. Okay, it can be anybody in the organization. Mentor can be even a junior person to you. But he's good in that particular subject, and you can be guided and get benefit from him on that particular subject.
One of the things that people might find having trouble with is getting comfortable around people, especially for someone who could be an introvert or someone who's currently learning leadership development. So how can we get more comfortable with getting uncomfortable into new opportunities? Like, say for an example, I'm getting promoted to be a manager, for instance.
This is a very interesting question, and it reminds me of actual experience that I have had with people that were working with me. I always advise people, don't get frightened of doing the job. Put yourself in the shoes and wear the hat of your senior person and act like him. Like for instance, today if you are, say, a manager in the treasury department, and tomorrow you will be the head of the treasury, all the managers will be reporting to you. Just put yourself in the place of the head, what he was doing, how he was questioning people, how he was motivating people, and act accordingly. Feel from within that you have the authority and that people will have to listen to you, but choose your words very nicely, choose your action very well, and but always think senior. If you want to do a senior job, you can't think junior and do a senior job, right? You have to think senior to be able to act as senior person. That is one thing. So think senior to act senior, and again, what we have said before about preparing yourself, planning, discipline, these sort of things.
When you said think senior and act like senior, if you're a junior and you think and act like a senior, won't people see you as arrogant? Yeah,
of course. If you want to think senior when you are a junior person and doing a junior job, and you want to make out of your job that big issue, la, of course, no. If you are, for instance, if you are a junior person, but your boss have chosen you to become a leader of a team. Now, in the team, there are people that are more senior than you, probably. If you continue thinking junior of yourself, you'll not be able to command this team. That's one thing that we didn't think of. If you continue to think junior and to handle and lead this team, you will not be able to, because you will think always that I am subordinate to that person. I cannot tell him do it this or that. But think senior and think how senior people think. So if you consult with him and he tells you, but I think this and that, which is different than what you think. When you think senior, how a senior person think? A senior person would think probably when he does not agree with me, I will consult with other people, or I will force him to do it that way, albeit it may be wrong, but I know the consequences. But when I think junior and he tells me this, I will tell him, okay, thank you, I'll submit to him, and I will not have control over the job. So you need not think senior for doing a junior job. You need to think senior for doing a senior job. And as the more you educate yourself in thinking senior, the more chances you get to become senior. It's the positive thinking and the law of attraction, as they say.
True. And if you act submissive, to be honest, I don't think people would trust you with doing a bigger job.
Absolutely. Yes. If you always do a submissive job, as you have said, people will think that you may not have the qualities to think higher and to think more senior.
Exactly. So what's one advice would you give to new managers to make that shift into becoming a leader?
I would say lead by example, okay? Do whatever you think is right and inspire others to do what you want them to do. We go back to the inspiration and motivation. Inspire and not motivate. Motivation is the job of the HR probably, or the job of a manager, but inspiration is the job of a leader. Okay, inspire people to have to instill qualities inside them, so that they are self-driven. They are pulled by an outside source to achieve whatever goals you have in mind. So I would advise them to try to inspire people, and the most important thing I think in anything is prepare yourself well. Always prepare yourself well. Don't say, no, okay, I'll leave it for people to advise me how to do it. You may not be able to decide on that particular subject, but at least prepare for it. Know what's its content, know what it's about. You don't want to be sitting in a meeting with your followers and you don't know what is the subject, what's the impact. And you can see leaders around the world, for instance. Sometimes you listen to a president of a particular country and you say, what damn is he does not know what he's talking about. And then you listen to other inspiring leaders and say, oh my God, he knows everything. He knows every صغيرة وكبيرة في البلد في العمل, and that's why he's successful. إنزين. طبعا if you want to make a person from a managerial job إلى leadership job, he has to يعني raise his level of thinking and get away from nitty-gritties of the job. Focus on the strategy, focus on the goal, on the light at the end of the tunnel, and not what goes on in the tunnel. But it's important to have good workers under you. It's important to have quality generals working for you, because those are the people that will resolve all the problems going through the pipe. Yes, the light is at the end of the light, or at the end of the tunnel, but while crossing that tunnel there are lots of problems. These problems have to be resolved by the managers.
I agree with you, and I also believe that if you want to inspire others, you should have the qualities that you wish to have in someone else. So for example, I want to inspire people to come on time. So that person as a manager should come on time themselves, so that their subordinates supposedly would look at them and go like, okay, that person comes at 6:30 instead of 7 a.m. So I feel like be the example that you wish to set upon on other people as well.
Yeah, this reminds me of a very interesting story that happened in Kuwait years back. In Kuwait, the phenomena of number plates for cars have become too much, and the plate numbers become too expensive. Like what's happening in Bahrain today. If a small number, 3 digits, is costing the 100,000 dinars or whatever. In Kuwait, became very big phenomena. It became like something that has never happened before in any other country. So the leader of the country at that time, I think it was Sheikh Sabah al-Jabr al-Sabah, or Abdullah Salam al-Sabah. What he did, he took number 1, plate registration number 1, and put it in a garbage car. And he took a number for his own car that is mixed of 6 digits, so it's very mixed, like what we say a salat number, okay? So he told the people, if I am the Amir of the country, I have this very sort of very, very mixed number, and the garbage car as carrying number one. Do you want to have a small number or you want to have a large number? So lead by example. Lead by inspiring people to think out. Like for instance, if you see comes a president of a country and he says, guys, or my people, we have very tough financial and economic situation coming ahead of us. So please try as much as you can not to spend on luxuries, not to spend and save money. We want you to save at least half of your salary in the bank, in the banking system, so that you support the liquidity of the country. And next day you find him buying yachts and buying airplanes, and
no one's going to listen to him.
No one's going to listen to him because he's talking in a valley, and others instructing people to think. No, but if he next day has like the president of, I think, Uruguay or Venezuela, who bought his only car, which was Volkswagen Beetles. He said, I don't need this car. It's enough to live in my own small house. I don't need a palace to work. And he inspired people that these sort of materialistic thing is not important for you to become a leader. So lead by example, definitely.
I have one last question for you, high bonus question.
Yeah.
If I would ask myself some reflective questions when it comes to making an impact on someone else, where can I start with? What kind of questions would I ask myself?
Yes, this is very important. The very first question I would ask myself, or the very first directives I'll give to myself, do as you say and lead by example, as we said. So I don't want to tell people that this year I will have to cut your bonuses, I have to cut your salary raises because we are going through difficult financial period, and then I see that I have taken for myself a new car, I have raised my own salary by the... I'll give you another example, and this is a true case that happened. I was on the board of one of the companies, without mentioning name, and the company was going through some financial challenges that year, and we were to report profits in that year that was below all the previous years. So we said in the board, the management committee said, we can't sort of end up the year this way because we will be seen in the market to be performing very bad, and the share price will go down, blah blah blah. So what we thought we should cancel all the bonuses for this year. We should stop the raises, and we should cut some allowances. We will be saving this number of millions of dinars that will go back into profit, and hopefully this will improve the financial results at the end of the day. Many of the board members have liked the idea, but I didn't. And I told them I will not do that before we ourselves as board members cut our sitting fees and cut our allowances and cut our board remuneration at the year end, because I don't want a worker in the organization to say, I lost my bonus this year, but look at the board member, he's got double what he used to get. When we did that, when we as the board have all agreed that we'll cut all our benefits by half, the staff members could not complain. They could not say, it all comes on us when there is bad time. No. We led by example. We basically first as board agreed that we will cut the benefits by half, and then the staff members will have to also follow, because it comes from the top. So I will always say, do whatever you think, and not think whatever you can. No, do whatever you think you want to be doing, and follow a straight line. Be fully transparent with your followers, with your employees. Be very transparent. يعني أعطيك مثال أيام حرب 56 بين العرب وإسرائيل. The leader were saying we are progressing, we are going ahead, and the next day we heard that we've lost everything, because they were lying to us in the media. They were not. Be transparent. So prepare the people, prepare the nation for whatever consequences. Transparency is important, very important, and that's why it's becoming a core issue of any corporate governance requirements, regulations. Transparency is important, as I've said. Getting the trust of the people. If you come at the beginning of the year and you said, I will make sure that I will raise everybody's salary by 20% at the end of the year. And then the years come, you achieve everything, nothing happens. Who will trust you? Who will follow you? But if you say I will do 20% and then 3 months in the year, you go back to them and tell them, sorry guys, I told you 20%, but there are these changes, these are the following circumstances, so we may not be able to achieve it. And then you come half the year and say, guys, I'm sorry, things are getting worse, we are not getting where we want to do. And then 3 months, and then at the end of them, tell them, sorry, we can't do it, because I have been transparent all the way through. I've been telling them, bringing them in line, and getting them to believe. But if you say, no, okay, I'll give you 20% at the end of the year, no. Like whatever people say nowadays about the Bahrain parliament. And then people say, yeah, those people who were elected have promised a lot of things, but they did not deliver. Yeah, many people are saying this. Do you think that this guy, if he nominates himself for election next time, he will win? Most likely not.
So transparency?
Delivery, transparency, delivery, and if you cannot achieve things, be very, very frank and very open about it with the people. Tell them why. Bring them in line. I remember when I used to work in GIB, we were in charge of GIB London. The credit department in Bahrain was in charge of GIB London, and every now and then we'll ask them to send us a report, to send us details of particular things and what have you. One day the head of the credit department in London called me and he said, Karim, I have no problem sending you the reports, but I wish you tell us why do you need these reports. I wish you, so that when I work on it, I know the importance of these reports. It's not just an automatic thing. Please, whenever you ask anything in the future, tell me why do you want this report. Yes, the general manager may have asked for it, the head of marketing may have asked for it, but I'm sure you would have asked the head of marketing, why do you need this report? So I can at least design it in the way that achieves the pay. These are the sort of transparency that you need to tell people. So, if I come to you and tell you, Latifa, I want you to go to this client and sell him £1 million. You may tell me, okay, and go, the client tries to sell £1 million, but you will definitely be empowered enough and capable enough to know why I want you to do that. I may tell you because he is traveling next year there and he wants to buy a flat. So make sure that you get him a good rate at the time, so at least you know that you have sometimes. And when you know,
feel connected to that person.
And when you know the reason, you can always think better. If I tell you, just do for him a 1 million transaction foreign exchange, do you want him today, tomorrow? Does he have 6 months? He can wait, so I can find for him the best time when to do the conversion, and these sorts of things. Transparency, doing whatever you trust, gaining the trust of people, and هذه كلها أشياء تصور لي مهمة في بالنسبة حق السؤال اللي طرحتيه.
That was some really insightful tips that you have given us. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. We really benefited from what you have said, and I really appreciate the work that you have done for not just the banking industry, but also the entire community as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Latifa. I hope I have shed some light on this very, very important subject, and I wish that what I have said will be taken by people who care and think about it and do their own. I'm sure they can think much better than me, people, but try to give my view about things. I hope I have met your expectation. I thank you very much and thank the association very much. Wish you all the best, inshallah. We'll see you one day being interviewed by others.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. If you like this episode, please don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any episodes.